Hi, this is Pamela Wirth from Hello Health and the Encourage Your Wellness podcast. And today I have Marc-Antoine, psychologist turned McKinsey consultant turned CEO turned executive coach turned conscious booster for CEOs, helping them to lead with serenity in times of disruption. He inspires so many people. He sold his company at 41 to follow his passion for human relationships. And over 2 decades, a positive and energetic coach. Matt has guided hundreds of elite CEOs in bringing abundance for all. Marc, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Pamela. Happy to continue to serve, helping people to feel well, happy, healthy.
Well, and your accent is amazing. So you're currently located in Mauritius, which sounds wonderful. And then where are you from originally?
I'm Swiss, so I speak French, and you see my accent. That's why I have a strange accent, as you say. And Mauritius is in the Indian Ocean, so the official language is English, but most of the people speak French. So very special case.
Yeah, special for sure. So tell us a little bit about your focus in health and wellness and how you are helping drive abundance for those you work with.
So I think in the path of life, we are all trying to find peace, find happiness, and of course, something called wealth. And all this is connected not only through the body and the mind. So it has to do with an alignment between who I am, why am I here, how do I want to live? And in the how I want to live, there is aspects that sometimes we forget. Most of the business people are running their life to make money, to realize after a while that that's not really the aim. And many of them, after being in the 40s, 50s, realize that they didn't take care of the most important thing in their life, which are, first of all, the family. And but what is even more important is myself. And when I realized that I did a lot of things to serve everybody except me, so comes a question which is, how do I take care of myself? How do I love myself? And that's the subject that triggers people after having experienced tough time, most of the time. It can be a illness, it can be a divorce, it can be a change in the job. So when we come to the question, how do I care about myself? How do I love myself? Of course, the body comes as a very important aspect of it, which is how do I eat? How do I sleep? How do I move my body? And if we want, and this is the case today, longevity, which means living long in a healthy body, then I need to take care. And the body is not only cells, physical cells. It's also, when we look further in what our cells made of, we quickly understand that they are made out of vibrations, which is energy. So mind, my thoughts are also energies. My emotions are also energies. So I need also to understand, and today we talk a lot about emotional intelligence. We need to understand what is the emotional world I'm living in, and how can I make peace with some emotions that are difficult. At the same time, I need to understand what are the thoughts. And that's also why we talk a lot about mindfulness today. Understanding my thoughts and trying to, again, find peace with all the thoughts that I have. So that's the field I'm working in. And the more grab the cells or the quality we are working on, when I say grab is, for example, the body is more grab, more harder than the emotions, and the emotions are more, how do you say, combined strength for when I say grub, I hope the word is correct, then thoughts. So I need to go from the hardest part to the softest part, and it starts with the body. And of course, then the emotions, and then the mind or the thoughts. And if I well understand, you are helping with your solutions people to have a more fluid body through complements that we can eat and help us to make our cells, our connections flowing in a better way. I hope I'm clear in what I'm trying to say.
No, you are. And yes, a lot of what I really like to focus on is, making sure that you're reducing inflammation in the body, predominantly around the brain, the gut, and the immune system. And a lot of that does tie into the gut. A lot of that does tie into emotions. The information that's now coming out about longevity and cellular energy is super interesting. When you start working with someone, where do you like to start? Is there a certain type of exercise or a certain type of homework that you want them to start with and then come back to you?
Yes, and I think that's the most simple, most evident, and sometimes the most forgotten one, which is calm, silence. When you say inflammation, it means that there is too much energy somewhere burning. So we need to calm that. How do you calm it? Mostly through silence. We are running constantly everywhere. So taking a moment to sit, breathe, and just learn to breathe. And learn to find that space which is calm. And that's where I start, yes.
So are there any types of certain activities that you really require someone to think about? Is it a certain type of day that you ask them to kind of step away from everything? Is it a certain type of breathing exercise, a certain type of meditation? Where do you like to kind of help guide people that frankly are so overwhelmed by so much noise in their life, and probably many don't feel like they could step away even for 5 minutes? What do you suggest?
Yeah, it's fun because you're saying, many things they cannot find the 5 minutes. So find 1 minute. It's enough. Everybody can find 1 minute. Everybody can find 2 minutes. Of course, if I ask them to find a day, a week, and commit to every week to do something during 1 hour or 2 hours, that's too much. But start just with 1 minute and try it and understand how it does good for you. So they must also start with one question. And that question is, what are you doing that is good, really good for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And also understand, get conscious of that nobody else can live your life and nobody else can make you happy. Nothing, nobody, except you now. So the moment we really get aware of that, then that minute becomes a priority. And then the minute starts to become maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes. Then it can start with a routine, simple routine. Now, you said which routine, which tools? There are so many tools and beautiful tools. I don't care about the tools. What is most important is take that moment for yourself. Now you might meditate because you feel good with meditating. You might pray. You might have a walk on the beach. You might spending time on your garden. You might maybe read a book or write. Do your journal. Doesn't matter which technique you use, in fact. Use the one that is most suitable to you, the one that pleases you. You might do a drawing, you might sing, whatever it is. That's something that pleases you, that is easy for you. Once we start with the first steps, then we start to walk further and become a little bit more interested to understand what could be the next step. And slowly, with time, we can start to implement some better routine, like, for example, meditate, if this is something that is right for you.
Yeah. I had a mentor once ask me, what do I do on a daily basis to fill my cup? And I was like, fill my cup. And he says, what makes you feel fulfilled? And I said, and this was a while ago. I thought, well, I don't know if I do anything on a daily basis. And since, I've started to think about this, I'm much better about making a conscious effort about doing things that not everything you do can be enjoyable, but you certainly can make more choices that are enjoyable. And you can think about why something's enjoyable and not enjoyable and how it makes you feel better and why am I here and why am I doing this? And you're right. It really does lead to a much more empowering and happy existence if you can start to take, to say that we're in control of our lives. I don't know if that's entirely true, but we can, kind of like what you're saying, certainly be in control of how we're interpreting situations and emotions and deal with them. So I like that.
If I read a little bit about your story, and I think it was your son, or it is your son that have that kind of difficulties. So suddenly, as a mother, we start to care. And you want your son, the people you care, to be at peace, to feel happy, to have less difficulties, whatever it is. So you want to be kind with that person. And we do this normally as a mother or as a father for people we love, we care. What are we doing for ourselves, the most important person on this planet?
Yeah, that's true.
And that's why I say, starting to understand that we are the only one that can live, be happy. But it starts to kind of put a mirror in front of us and say, as you said, what am I doing to fill my cup? What am I doing to feel fulfilled? Suddenly come question like, yes, but what is important for me in the day? What are the things that I do that create in me a positive energy where I feel alive? Mm-hmm. And suddenly it starts to, oh yes, maybe, having that talk with somebody or talking about these kind of things. Or as you are doing, bringing more consciousness and helping people who are suffering. And you mentioned in a certain type of issues like creating fluidity with the brain through your medicaments or through your complements, suddenly you have a purpose. Once you connect to your purpose, life becomes very easy. And you come slowly in a kind of state where you say, okay, I try the best I can every day to fulfill my purpose, but at the same time, I am conscious that I'm doing something good for me. And in the for me, it's not just the for me as an egoistic. It's a for me that has something to serve on this earth, on my community, in my family, in my business, whatever it is. And the moment I have this link that I am doing something good for me, at the same time I am serving, then abundance comes.
Yeah, that's true. And it certainly makes the long days easier when you're doing something that helps with your purpose. So
then there is no more long day.
That's true.
No, because then they are 2 short days. I'm sorry to say so, in the sense that once I have to be honest, and once you start to really love life, and life is every second that I spend, it's a gift given by, you can call God, universe, or whatever it is. And I'm conscious that gift will go soon. So at that moment, there is no long day. There is constantly opportunities to feel fully alive and just say thank you for the gift that life is offering you. Mm-hmm. And I see that. It's just a mindset. But I can also be in the same situation and don't see anything of it. And as you say, just see the problem, the things that I don't have, the things that hurts, and compare myself to the others and saying, yes, but they have a better life than me. And all the stories that we listen on the news or on the web, where it's only problems. And suddenly the life becomes difficult. But that's not true. Truly, it's completely wrong.
Yeah.
Every day, I breathe in, receive beautiful energy that comes to my body, just need to be conscious of it, gives me the energy to feel alive, gives me the capacity with all the means I have to enjoy what is life giving me. Just go into nature and see the beauty of it. Just look at the flower, whatever it is. But of course, if I don't do this and stay in a world where I only see problems and see the future difficult and feeling miserable, yes, then it's a little bit more difficult. Sorry, I hope I'm not talking too much.
So when you're working with people and helping them, how often do you follow up with them? What does the follow-up process look like? Trying to keep them on the right path.
You will find it strange, but I will give you a story. The story is the following. You feel okay in your health. Okay, you feel okay with yourself. Now you do your tests. You go to the doctors, and the doctor tells you, "Oh, your test doesn't look good." In a microseconds, everything changes in your life. Suddenly, fear comes, you are blocked, and this happens in microseconds. So there is a shift happening in that situation from a state where you feel okay, feel confident, feel happy, to a state where everything is at risk, right? This happens. It's the same way around. You can, in a microsecond, decide, understand, get conscious of it that, hey, wait, life is beautiful. The moment we really tick, then there is no need to continue and support and help. There is no need to come back and say, are you doing what you have to do? So what I'm trying to do is bringing that tick. So then everybody goes on his own path and take ownership of his life. If I have to be around and constantly make sure that you did what you have done, then I'm not doing my job properly. Now, this is kind of simply said. In reality, there is a transition period. And in the transition period where you move from one state to another, yes, there are moments where we have habits and we go back to the old habits. There are moments where we feel weak and we need somebody around. They say, hey, I'm here to support you. Don't judge you. And yes, so how long is this period depends on how long I following somebody. Most of the time, I have yearly annual contract with the CEOs I'm coaching with, but they have issues that are popping up depending on the business they have. So this is mostly solving issues that are popping up, not only their own, but also the business ones. And for individuals, I will say in 3 months, meeting them every 2 weeks, that's it, 6 times. I think most of them, even quicker than that, don't need my help anymore. Then what I do, to be honest, also, I come back 6 months or a year later and just ask them, where are you? Just to give a small push. And now we can also use technological tools, simple things. And we have made so many tools to remind us. The problem is we have too many things. So what I suggest to them is to set a meeting with them on their agenda every month or every 6 months, where the commitment they had, like, I want to be kind with myself. And to be kind, maybe I mean that taking a walk on the beach or taking some time singing, whatever it is. So put those kind of commitment you have with yourself in a meeting with yourself every 3-6 months and put it, repeatedly over. So that's a way also that I use. I hope I answered your question now.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. I also have a couple of sticky notes on my bathroom mirror that I'll put up from time to time to every time before, you're in there a couple times a day. So, taking a look at that and just remind yourself of what's important and what you really want to refocus on. No, that's super. Anything that you want to share that I'm missing that I've not asked about? Like maybe the 6-step framework. Do you want to touch on that?
Okay. So the point is we are living in a world that is challenged and very challenging, especially if we think of the future. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, those basic things are in question for us. The relationship we have amongst people is often tensed. A lot of difficult relationship at home, at work, and so on. When we, again, read the news or listen to whatever we have to hear, often is bad news in the sense it creates unpleasant emotions and unpleasant thoughts. So we need to compensate that consciously. In fact, we need three positive experience, emotions, thoughts to compensate one negative one. But most of the time we don't do so. So bringing that awareness to say, hey, how much today am I surrounded with positive things that gives me the energy to be alive? And starting to identify them. Okay, I just had that conversation, and having that conversation like we have now, I feel something where I feel more at ease. I have a small smile in my heart. I have a smile in my face. I feel that I am energized. So bringing that consciousness constantly and say, okay, this is what happened today. It can be then brought in the evening when I do a kind of summary of the day and say, okay, what happened that was good during that day? And even better if I start to journal. And even better if I start to say, thank you for all this, because I'm conscious it's a gift that I received. And those kind of, mindset, being aware how many, when I say negative is not the right word, but unpleasant things that I put into myself, being physically, being emotionally, being mentally, and how much of the one that gives me the sense that I am life and it's a gift and it's a beautiful gift, how much of this put I into myself consciously? And it can start with, okay, the next drink I have, just observe. So coming to the 6 steps that I use is a very simple one, I think. It starts with making a pause. Like we are doing now, we're talking, we make a pause, and then we observe what is happening in my life now. And I can observe what is, again, positive, bringing energy, or taking my energy, creating fluidity or creating blockage. Just observe. And we observe, of course, my physical, the state of my physical body, the state of my emotional mind, or my emotional world, the state of my thoughts, also observing what is around me, surrounding with. So once this is done, then I decide, take a decision. I take ownership about my own life. And the decision is, and that's where the first step is pause, observe, decide. And the next 3 are linked to the decision. So the question is, what should I decide? And the first thing that I need to decide is to respect myself fully, which means to love myself first. And to go a little bit quicker and deeper in that question, it means that I'm conscious of my purpose, I'm conscious of my value system, I'm conscious of my emotional wants, I'm conscious of my priorities, my needs, I'm conscious of my limiting beliefs. All this takes, of course, a little bit time to understand that, and there can be help. So once I am clear of what I should do to love myself, to care for myself, to respect myself fully, this is the 4th step, then I respect the relationship with everything that is around me, not the other. Because that's the issue we have in many relationships is we want to take care of the other people, thinking that we know what is better for them. But what is strange is nobody else than me know what is good for me. And even this, it's a difficult path to understand what is good for me. So how can I think that I will know what is good for the other? Very, very difficult. So stop trying to please the others and do what is right for them. Just respect the relationship, the space that is between me and the other. And when I say the other, of course, it's a person, but it's also the nature that is around us. It's also the animals, everything that is around us. Respect the relationship. That's the fifth key. And the sixth one, which is probably the most difficult one, is don't expect anything in return. If you do the fourth one, you already served yourself. And if you do the fifth one, you already served the universe or the earth or the relationship or the family. So then don't expect anything in return, which means letting go. And once we do so, abundance comes because everything becomes a surprise and we see the beauty of life. We let go. But I think this is the most difficult path, or not path, but this is what I believe. This is what we are here on earth for, is to understand what it really means to let go and flow with life. So those are the 6 steps.
Thank you. Is there anything else that we're missing that you want to touch on?
No, I think you're nothing missing, but I just want to honor the energy you put in interviewing people like what we are doing now, bringing solutions because you know they are good or they were good for you, your most important person for you, which is your son, and you know how this helped. And through that, you continue your path to serve and bring this capacity to other people. And I'm convinced not easy every day. And it needs a lot of discipline, rigor. If you're continuing this kind of podcast, it means that you put the energy. And I can imagine it's not always easy. Okay, I need to do this and find somebody and tell about that. But you're continuing. So I want to honor that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So how can people find out more about you?
Just go on the app, tap my name, and you'll find it.
All right. Sounds perfect. Well, thank you very much, Marc-Antoine.
Thank you, Pamela. Thank you for what you did. Have a good day.